Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. I gotta talk about the restaurant industry in Canada for a hot second. Yeah, it's been kind of a week full of Canadian stories, but I think I'm gonna keep a lot of them for the Sunday sum up. But this one is especially pissing me off today. So there was an article recently from the Montreal Gazette, and it's starting to make the rounds on the internet. And let's just say it is less than unkind to people who want to not work in the restaurant industry. Restaurants can't find staff even with the CERB out of business. They say there's a cultural shift. Now there's this kind of entitlement. It's about doing the least and getting paid the most. Ugh, fucking Christ. Before we go any further, I'm just going to take a quick moment here to say trigger warning and content warning. Not only do I swear, because this story has me heated, but there are mentions of physical abuse and sexual assault because unfortunately we're talking about the restaurant industry. So again, content and trigger warning for those. Proceed at your own caution. Okay, so here's the thing, dear restaurant owners, and here's my experience, right? I have several years experience, especially in my younger years, in like my 20s and my teen years, working as both a busboy and a dish bitch. And because restaurants were usually understaffed or things came up, I often had to do other tasks as well. There were a few times where I was basically forced into like a line cook role. That was stressful as fuck. And again, because it's a restaurant industry, so it was, oh no, you technically make less than minimum wage, but you know, there's tips, right? Which means we rely on chuckle fucks, like this one asshole who, I'm not providing a tip because the angel hair pasta was too thick to be angel hair pasta. Hand to God, real actual experience that happened at one of the restaurants I worked at. So that's just a little snippet into what that was like. Now imagine you're a woman in this industry, especially an attractive woman in this industry. Whether you're, a minor or not, people will leer at you and grab your ass. And not just customers, but actual members of your staff, your coworkers, or worse still, management. I remember at one catering place I worked at, the girl, after, she had been here for a while, she just remarked to me how it was such a pleasant surprise that no one tried to hit on her and no one sexually assaulted her. This was a refreshing change of pace for her. And at that time, she was 19 goddamn years old. So with this crucial context in mind, I have a message to a lot of these other restaurateurs. At the end of the day, your industry is fucking notorious for terrible hours, terrible pay, and also sexually assaulting and abusing female coworkers. And on top of that, you have abuse from customers as well. Why the hell would anyone want to work in the restaurant industry with rude customers who these days are still, throwing punches if you ask them, yeah, please show your proof of vaccination. We require that at this restaurant. Or still, they're not tipping because, oh, well, times are tough, so I can't tip. Or you were late with my drinks, so no tip. And it's any arbitrary reason for them to throw out for why the server or the bus girl or the hostess are not getting tips. So yeah, don't you just really want to come into an industry where people face abuse on the goddamn daily for not exactly great money in a frontline industry that again comes with abuse? Yeah, no wonder people aren't eager to return to that kind of work. And to again go to the main point of, people want to get the most money for the least amount of work. Yeah, isn't that everyone? Hello? Part of why I like my current job is that it is full-time, pays halfway decently, like it's just on the edge of being a living wage where I am. Comes with some solid benefits. It's supposedly, anyway, a 9 to 5. I get paid time off. Yeah, hey, why wouldn't I just keep this really solid job going rather than, hey man, we still, I know you really know your way around a kitchen. Can you come in for a few shifts? Why would I be such a masochist to myself? I'm not into that. But there's a part in this article that, again, just shows that these people are just completely missing the point. So people in the restaurant industry are still complaining about the CERB and the CRB, which, again, ended a few weeks ago, right? And that was the CRB that ended. The CERB actually ended even further back. And surprise, surprise, again, for the reasons I listed, people are having difficulty trying to bring in workers. Paulo Oliveira, who owns La Main Folle and Melrose Pizza in Notre Dame de Grace, said he's seeing a cultural shift among young people. It's not about the money anymore, Oliveira said. We're offering more money than ever in our industry, which we can't even afford. I meet with people for job interviews, and at the end of the day, they want to do something else. They're gearing themselves up for a different lifestyle. They just don't want to do this anymore. They took a step back with COVID, and they're saying, okay, what's going to make me really happy? So if you're offering more money than you can afford, then that is a sign that the industry is fundamentally unsustainable, and that's a problem, and maybe that should be a real conversation. But instead, people are still so entrenched in this old and self-destructive capitalist thinking of, no, see, this is why I gotta get people and try and convince them to work for scraps and in an industry that, right now could potentially expose them to disease, and again has really weird, terrible, irregular hours. By the way, seriously, who knows a chef who doesn't smoke or drink or both? And man, why can't I get workers to come into an area that's just rife with abuse from both staff and customers? And some of that, if you're a woman, is also sexual abuse. Yeah, no wonder they don't want to do this anymore. You yourself should take a step back and realize what's wrong with your industry and work to better it. You're the people in charge of the damn thing. But then there's this next paragraph, which again is really telling. Oliveira said he often meets young potential employees and they say they only want to work 1 day a week, that many want to focus more on education, that they're looking at getting into other more stable professions. He mentioned that 2 people currently working at Melrose Pizza are leaving to become electricians and that they started exploring this option when the restaurants were all closed during the pandemic. Oh no! People bettering themselves in their condition? What? Dude is literally mad about people getting better jobs and job opportunities and getting better, more secure, stable professional employment. Come on, man, where's my slaves? Like, that's basically what this guy is saying. They only want to work 1 day a week. Maybe that has to do with education. I'd like a more stable profession than one with weird hours and unsubstantial pay in very big, expensive cities. This guy is literally moaning about 2 employees who are becoming electricians, a very good and noble profession, by the way. He's complaining. For reference, and remember the catering job I told people about, one of the many jobs in the service industry I had in my younger years? When I finally got a job in the industry that I went to college for, they were happy for me. They said, oh, yeah, we're sorry to see you go, but that's great. You're doing what you want to do. We wish you the best of luck. You're a good worker. Yeah, we're going to miss you. If you're free to drop by, we'll make you some food again. It was really nice, amicable, hey, no, we understand. Thank you for being here. You were a good employee. Best of luck in your future endeavors. And then we have this jackass from Montreal who is just literally moaning and complaining about people wanting to do things other than, again, this objectively terrible industry that he and others could help improve, but actively choose not to because they are still entrenched in this old system of thinking of, no, this is how it's got to be, and I can't pay more people, and people are leaving. Oh man, I just need slavery back. I just need my wage slaves. Now, to be fair, again, in the next paragraph, which I'm not going to fully, show on the screen or anything, he does recognize, oh yeah, I understand that people are realizing this is the most precarious industry. I can understand it. If I was a 25-year-old guy today and I had a chance to leave the industry, I'd do it in a flash. So yeah, on some level, this Oliveira person recognizes what's happening, but they are still clearly complaining and taking issue with people improving their material conditions because that's what they need to survive. And he also basically told on himself earlier saying, we're actually hiring people at higher wages than ever before that we can't even really afford. Well, then that is an issue. Why don't we make that the conversation rather than what's clearly happening in this article and the way, the excerpt they used for, the Twitter post of it's all these entitled Gen Z and the Zoomers and it's the millennials and they're just so lazy and rather than maybe taking a look at the real issues within the restaurant industry and talking about that rather than, again, blaming programs that have ended and also blaming people for wanting better in life. Because yeah, people like to go out and eat. They like to go out and drink. They like to have a good time. They like to catch up with people. They like to try new things. They like to go and have fun in foods that they don't normally prepare or have the time to prepare at home. I get it, right? And so, yes, there should be a healthy, robust restaurant and service industry. But that means in a world that is increasingly unaffordable, something's got to give. And that should very much be a conversation that we all have as a society. But instead, we're getting this fucking schlock blaming millennials and the Zoomer kids instead of actually blaming the system as a whole that has pushed everything to this precarious point that is hurting very real people and has also in the past led to so much abuse, both physical and sexual. And all that together should be a conversation, but it isn't. And that is definitely what's bothering me today.